Hey traders, Nick here, looking at Nvidia reported earnings. Today is the 24th of August. After hours, they reported earnings. Whatever they said, the market didn't like it. They fell straight into 165, 164, and they are trying to find footing. So today's purpose is to put some context on this drop, whether it was a surprise, and what to do with it from here. So nothing here is actually a advice of any source. This is me looking at the chart and looking at the company and thinking out loud. First, do me a favor. If you like what you see at the end, you can hit the like button and you subscribe to this channel. If you haven't already, it's free still. And put the little bell so you can be notified. I'll put a link to it somewhere up in the corner of the video and at the end. Okay, so on to the earnings. Usually I'm going to do my PSA here and do you a favor that you cannot guess the earnings based on the quality of the report. I can guarantee you the reports have been great, say from Apple, yet it rarely rallies on the headline. So it's more about emotions. So do yourself a favor and don't say, okay, they're going to report well, so the stock's going to rally. That's not nearly the case. So what can we do? We can look at the options sometimes and guess. This was my guess today for the members, somewhere around 11:30 my time here in California. The Nvidia earnings guess from my read into the options data, and TradeTix today's options also flow. They tell me what happened today. And then I come up with a decision. I said initially down is easier than up, and then I retracted it to word it better. I said if they fall below 170, it's easy for them to fall to 158. The bulls will fight for it. So here they are falling into and towards 158, 162. So tomorrow I would anticipate that the bulls will come out in defense of it. It's a good company. So let's start there. Company. I am heavily technically swayed, but I'm a fundamental trader to begin with. So there's no denying the fact that it is a leader, innovator in the industry. It has two major competitors. We have AMD and Intel. And by the way, Intel is the massive guy. Last time I checked, it was bigger than both of them combined twice over. But they don't get the headlines. So the financials here are bulletproof from a growth perspective. They are growing pretty fast. Whether they're profitable or not, it doesn't matter, but they are. Because they are spending their money in order to grow fast. Overview, I want to see if they're bleeding cash, and they're not. They generate almost $9-10 billion in cash from their operations, so they don't need to borrow to exist. Valuation is a little sticky. Any which way I slice it. I'm not worried about the PE. This is a growth company. But 14 times sales, I bet you that's much bigger than AMD. You can check it on your own. It's definitely bigger than Intel. Intel's PE is in the single digits. Cheaper than an oil company. That's pretty embarrassing. Anyway, back to here. So the fundamentals are not a problem. The sales are growing. Profits are growing. Leadership is excellent. So whatever falls in the chart, a price, should be buying opportunities if you choose the right levels. So this is a 5-minute chart just to show you what's going on after hours. So it's at 164. So let's go out to a daily chart, take out all the drawings. And this is what most people look at. About 1 year's worth of data for on a daily chart. I can hide this for more real estate. So you can see how the rally in 2021 was crazy. Everything topped in November of 2021. And we headed straight down. So we didn't even stop here too long, but we headed straight down. My technical issue with Nvidia is that they lost a level that was 210-ish. That was super important for them to hold. Let's call it over 200 because of this. As long as they're below 200, the bears are in charge on the long term. So rallies will try to be sold. That will change eventually, but for now, that's the, so I want to see, I will get excited for it technically above 200. Now, if I'm an investor, I can nibble. Is this a dip to buy? It's like down 5%. It's not an opportunity. I can guarantee you it's not an opportunity to go all in. Even if I'm an investor for the long term, I should not be all in because the markets are teetering. So even if it's perfect, the market is not. So if the market corrects 5 to 10%, this one will fall much lower. You might even have the opportunity to buy it in the double digits. That's not my forecast, but technically there is a way down to there. Again, through no fault of its own. It has support at 166. So that's the line of support that I think they will defend. Actually, after hours, it fell to 150, 164, but they will probably try to pop up during the session tomorrow, and they may fade a little bit down to test the overnight lows. So I wouldn't chase a small pop at the open because they might revert lower. I still think it has support this week. So any dips into 150, I consider them opportunities to technically buy it as long as it stays above these two. Now, if I'm a trader and I take a long, so investors and traders can try to buy it on a dip. They may test the 150 level. If they do, I think it's a buying opportunity from a trader's perspective and from an investor's perspective. If an investor's perspective, they shouldn't go all in. They should leave room to add. From a trader's perspective, if they take and risk, let's say $1,000, I'm making that up, I would stop out at a new low below here because I don't know what lies beneath. Okay, yes, it has support, but it's too old to matter in the short term too closely. So whatever happens tomorrow, I can buy the dip. Depends on how deep it is. The closer to 152, 155, the more exciting it becomes. This is a shorter term chart. It shows the overnight drop. It shows that it has been a bounce before and there are a couple of gaps. So it's very conceivable that it could bounce and drift and bounce and drift and bounce and come down to here over the next 3-4 days. It will follow the markets. The markets will help it. But now 172 to 174 has become a problem. So this is basically the top level technical analysis. Now let's recap. The company is excellent. It's falling on whatever disappointments they saw in the report. I didn't read the headline, but I can guarantee you it's got something to do with missing estimates. Somebody's estimated this. How about we go with the facts? Tell me what it did relative to last year's actual number. Did the company grow? Did they forecast growth? Did they forecast any shrinkage? No, then it's just somebody's feelings getting hurt. So that's not an issue. Technically, it has a couple of problems. On the 1-day chart, I showed you under 200, it's in the hands of the bears. On the shorter term, same comments about this area, which is 172 to 175. So rallies into that area, I think, will be sold by machines, and they may drift it lower to come down to this bunch. And if it does, it's a buy the dip opportunity with a tight stop for traders, or a small buy the dip opportunity for the investors long term.